Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about two more thinking traps and to continue on from the last video. And those traps I want to talk about today are the use of the word should and the use of absolutes such as always and never in our internal thoughts and our internal self-talk. We often will use these words to evaluate our performance on something or to define our ability to do something or our ability to not do something. And when we focus on this type of thinking, it usually happens after an action has been taken, not before. Because generally these words are thought through with a bit of regret and reevaluation of a choice that's already been made. So if we talk about the idea of should, often I'll talk to my clients about the fact that, we should ourselves to death. I should have done this. I shouldn't have done that. I should be doing this. I shouldn't be doing that. And we'll drown ourselves in this evaluation of not doing what we think we should be doing. But generally when we're focused on the shoulds, it doesn't necessarily change the course of action we're on, or as I said before, it's too late to actually adjust our action and the action's been taken already. So looking back and looking at actions and choices we've made with hindsight, which as they say is 2020, we're always going to be able to say, well, I should have done this and I should have done that. And maybe with the new information you have at this moment from after you've taken the action, you can say, oh yeah, you know what, actually I should have done that, or I should have seen this. But the reality is that you didn't. And most people that I talk to, they do their best to make the best decision they can based on the information available to them at the time. And so looking back and being angry with yourself because you should have done something different or you should have done something is unproductive and only hits at your self-esteem, your confidence, your ability to make decisions in the future. Instead of looking back at things in our lives and saying, should or shouldn't, it is better to approach it from a stance of, okay, that decision has been made. I can't go back and undo it. I can't go back and make a different choice. What I can do is learn from the choice I've made, and should that option come up again in the future, I can then use that information to choose the decision that looks better to me now. The focus is on what do I learn and how do I apply it to the future, instead of being on, well, what I should or shouldn't have done in the past. Absolutes are another area that people often fall into thinking traps. And if you pay attention to your thought processes during the day, we actually don't realize how often we use words like always, never, everything, every time, everyone. And if you think about human nature in general, how often are human beings going to always do anything or never do anything? There's a few exceptions, but for most of us, you might say, oh, I never swear or I've never cursed, but it may have gone through your mind at some point and almost slipped out, and you really wanted to, or you almost did. So it's not, that you never curse, it's that you do your best not to. And it kind of ties into the black and white thinking that we talked about last time, because always or never, because they're not applicable generally to humans, we usually fall somewhere in between. And if we look at ourselves and say, well, unless I am always good, then I must be bad. Unless I am always right, I must be wrong. Then we're setting ourselves up for failure, first of all, and for a lot of disappointment and discouragement. Because if something always happens, there's nothing you can do to change it. Now, instead of looking at something as a fact that it always happens, A very simple shortcut actually in addressing this kind of thinking trap is just changing the wording of the thought a little bit. And it can be, I feel like I always do this, or I feel like they never do that, or it seems like, it appears, I do my best to. Allowing yourself a little bit of leeway to acknowledge the shades of gray that happen sometimes, or the times when as human beings we just behave in ways that are unpredictable and that we would never expect ourselves even to do. The reason you want to shift in that direction is because allowing yourself to recognize there are gray spaces allows you to be more gentle with yourself when you make a mistake, or to feel that things in your life that you would like to change are actually changeable because they're not definite. And just because you do it once or twice or have done it consistently to this point doesn't mean that it's going to be ongoing for you. And it allows for hope that it is possible to change things, approach things differently. Now, obviously, as some of my more intellectual clients point out, well, there are things in the world that always happen. And that's true. If I drop a pen on the ground in my office, it's always going to fall to the floor. It's not one day gonna, float to the ceiling. So yes, there are absolutes. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I'm saying in the realm of human behavior, they are extremely rare. So make sure you allow yourself the leeway to recognize you may not be perfect, you may not be 100% bad, you're probably a mixture of the in-between, and you don't want to find yourself reinforcing that by using absolutes. So any little shift of that thought is a good shift so that you can, as I said earlier, enhance your confidence and focus on your ability to move forward and not your ability to remain stuck in the past. So hopefully that is helpful, and I encourage you, even if you just listen to this and you think, well, I don't think I think like that, just pay attention during the day and see how often you're berating yourself for something you should have done, or how often you're telling yourself, well, I always do this. Just to see, because I bet you it's more than you think it is. Anyhow, that's all for now. I will talk to you again next time.